Hebrew. It was natively spoken by the Israelites and remained in regular use as a first language until 200 A.D., 200 years after Christ. So when they try to tell you, it says a first language, meaning during the time of Christ, Hebrew was still our first language. Christ spoke Hebrew. You understand? So now, what happens here is that it's our first language for 200 years after Christ. Now we're being dispersed throughout the earth. After 70 A.D., when the Romans sacked and destroyed and burnt Jerusalem to the ground, we're dispersed. But there's still some of us went up into the mountains, and there were several other revolts after 70 A.D. You understand? So the language was still our first language. Now, it also says that over the next 100 years, it began to decrease in usage until by the year 300 AD, it was no longer a functioning language. Now, if anybody could, even if you out there in the chat, if you could tell me what was the main reason why it became a functional language. If you can tell me why. You got it? Go ahead.
It's like, sir, it's because they were scattered.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, great.
Just that simple. Because now we're scattered into other nations.
Right.
And now we're homeless. We're vagabonds. And we're separated from one another in smaller groups. And we're absorbed into other societies. So our language becomes non-functional. Non-functional. Our language becomes non-functionable. Okay? So now, what happened? And I'm going to break this down to you. Listen carefully.
Okay.
We're scattered. We're in Africa. Primarily, we're in India. We're everywhere. We're in Europe. We're everywhere. We're scattered to every nation in the earth. And now we're absorbed in those nations, and some of the nations made it illegal for you to even be a Jew.
Right.
Particularly the Greeks and the Spaniards and the Romans. Okay. The Spaniards later on. Okay. The language was revived in the 19th century. What does that mean? I'm going to break that down to you. The language was, and I'm going to give you a little bit more on what happened. The language was revived in the 19th century, meaning the small hats who converted to Judaism in the 8th century was not speaking Hebrew until the 19th century.
Dang.
So what was they speaking?
Right.
You understand? They were speaking something called Yiddish. You understand? Which is a Germanic, Eastern European dialect derived from a poor knowledge of Hebrew, Assyrian Hebrew, or the Hebrew written in the Assyrian fashion. So they, until this day, this is why when we turn on their pronunciation, we bust out laughing.
Right.
We laugh. It's funny as hell. If you got one, brother, like their pronunciation of it is because they never wanted to get the truth of the matter. Because what they did was they created what we call modern Hebrew. Now, I'm going to show you how deceptive they are. And I can't really prove it visually, but I'm going to tell you this. So now, 19th century, that's the 1800s. They start finding ancient writings, and they make up what we call modern Hebrew without the proper pronunciation. That's where we get words like shalom and shalom.
Good name.
and Yeshua and Yahiva, Yahu, Yahweh. That's where we get all that from. Because they never knew the pronunciation because there was no continuity. So now I'm going to show you a scripture that the Most High said he was going to return our language to us. Give me Zephaniah Slacky.
You want one of their
Yeah. The brother put it on the mic. The brother's he's gonna tell you what the word is properly pronounced, and then we're gonna hear how they pronounce it.
Con, sir. It's the word for one in Hebrew, akkad.
Right, akkad, which means one, and everybody knows Captain Akkad.
That's right.
Okay.
So here's how the small house pronounces it, sir. Sometimes they.
Got it? Here we go. Put the mic there.
Strong's H259. Echad. Echad.
It's akkad, man. Come on. Because, see, they never had the real pronunciation because they are not the true Jews of the Bible. And their spirit, this is one thing I've learned. Their spirit will not allow them to do the proper pronunciation. You understand? Because their pronunciation is a European dialect of Hebrew. You understand? You see how the Haitians have a dialect of French called, what do they call it? Creole. I think that's what they call it. Now, patois is in Jamaica. No. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same, but they speak a dialect of French, and that patois or the Creole, that's where the word Creole actually came from patois.
Oh.
Like it's like a dialect of a dialect.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. So these dialects are based on other language, based on the way you talk. You understand? In New York, they used to have what they call New Yorkers, which was Puerto Ricans that spoke Spanish, and you knew they was from New York. You understand? So their dialect is a dialect or a derivative of Hebrew with improper pronunciation. Now, let me show you. I'm going to show you something. You're going to have to look this up because I can't show it to you right now. That they had the proper ancient Hebrew. And it said it in the article. They've always had the Lashuan Kodash, or the ancient Hebrew. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to prove it to you. Okay. In the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh. Right. And the Assyrian Hebrew is pronounced the same, but it's like this. Yahweh. They pronounce it Yahweh. When it's Yahweh. You understand? So that's the difference. But let me show you. I'm going to show you. Everybody ever heard of the movie called The 10 Commandments? Everybody heard of that movie? Let me see what we got in this chat. Somebody laughing. He laughed. They beat us to unlearn it. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So now I'm going to prove to you. Y'all heard of the movie The 10 Commandments? There's a scene in the movie where the Most High is writing the law, statutes, and commandments on the tablets in the form of fire coming out of the sky and writing letters. When you watch that movie, if you ever see that scene, it's written not in modern Hebrew. It's written in the Lashuan Kodash. I just saw the movie. There's a scene when the Most High, when Moses is up on the mountain and the Most High is writing the laws and on the tablets and giving them to Moses. It's written in that movie in Lashuan Kodash. I promise you. Meaning that they had it, but they didn't know how to use it. You understand? So they created in the 18th century, that's 200 years ago, within the last 200 years, they created what is called modern Hebrew, which is a mixture of the sounds that they thought Hebrew was and Yiddish. That's what it is. You understand? So that's the proof. Now, the I.S.U.P.K. under Commandant General YAHANNA, we were able to discover the Lashawan Kodash with the proper pronunciation. Yeah, here we go. Salakia. Let me see if I could show you on the camera. The brother found it. There it is. Look carefully at the letters. They are not modern Hebrew. It's Lashawan Kodash. Look. Look carefully. I hope you can see it. Look. There it is. Look at the letters. It's not modern Hebrew. It's Lashawan Kodash. Right there. There it is. They always knew. You understand? But they, hey, man, we got this. We're going to do it our way. It's because he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. I appreciate that, my brother. Oh, yeah, don't sweat. You can look at this movie. There it is, right there. It's Lashawan Kodash. It's not, that's in a movie. This was one of the most popular movies in American history. I think they made it in 1956, if I'm not mistaken, or 55. But I'm 56, right? Yeah, 1956. And what I'm saying, the movie older than me. But what I'm saying, when I was a kid, they would show the movie every Easter, around Easter. It was a big thing. Everybody would watch it because it's like 2 or 3 parts. And I would look at the writing and I'd say, what the hell is that? And I never knew. But since I came in the truth and I learned Lashawan Kodash, I was watching it. And I said, oh, snap. It's Lashawan Kodash. Understand? So they knew, but they preferred to use the Assyrian Hebrew because it was more modern. And then they had access to making up their pronunciations themselves. You understand? Now, we read it. It says that they revived the language in the 18th century. I mean, in the 19th century, which is the 1800s, they began to develop what we call modern Hebrew. So between the time that they converted in the 8th century, 11 centuries later, now they're trying to produce Hebrew in the earth. But the Commandant General YAHANNA, the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commandant General YAHANNA, we went back and discovered that our language, this is what they never tried to learn. It's what they call Abjad language, meaning there's no written vowels. None. The vowel sound, Yahweh, Yah, Ha, Wah. The vowel is inferred. In Hebrew, there's no A-E-I-O-U at all. But what they did was put little dots and connotations to make it sound like an A-E-I-O-U. You understand? Which means that all of their pronunciations was incorrect because our language, look up this word. It's a family of language called Abjad languages. You understand? That means there's no written vowels and that the consonants are inferred. It comes with the letter. Yah, Ha, Wah. You understand what I'm saying? It's supposed to be, it's like Yah, Ha, Wah. But you don't see the A, you don't see a letter that represents the A because it's inferred. Right. This is the pure language. And I'm going to show you it in the Bible. You understand? Where we lost our culture. Let's get that one first. Jeremiah 17:4. Jeremiah 17:4. These devils have been in grave error. Right. Understand? And this shows you the validity, you understand, and the truth that's being taught in the I.S.U.P.K under Commandant General YAHANNA.
That's right.
We have the proper pronunciations because we understand that basic premise, that basic fact that our language is an abjad language. We don't, it's not like English where you have words like knife and the say is, the K is silent. We don't have that.
Damn right.
You understand? It's a pure language. Now let's give me Jeremiah 17:4.
Come on. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
The heritage that the Most High gave us, man.
That's right.
Did the angels speak Hebrew? Yes, we proved that.
Come on.
Was our language, our first language, Hebrew? Yes.
Damn right.
You understand what I'm saying? So we discontinued from the culture, which included our language. That's what we just showed you when we read that the language was lost between the year 300 AD and it was revived by the small hats in the 19th century.
Come on.
But guess what happened? I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
Christ pulled them seals off of it, baby, in 1969. And the truth was released into the earth through the true prophets, priests, and prophets of the Lord and the I.S.U.P.K. And Commandant General YAHANNA kept the school going.
That's right.